Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Christina and I will be your host today. This is the second webinar in our series in-depth technical webinars focused on the key themes, features of the SDL Tridion Sites 9 content management system offering. This webinar will focus on the work we have done to align our data integration services and our external content libraries into a unified set of capabilities, functionalities, and how it could be applied within a client's environment. In this session, we will provide you in-depth overview with demo of the work that is being done to improve and extend the integration point within SDL Tridion Sites, with a particular focus on the following elements: external content library, in delivery, beyond multimedia, current available and future connectors offering, Salesforce, Commerce and Marketing Cloud, Microsoft Dynamics, SAP Hybris, Oracle Commerce, Magento, and more. Overview of the accelerators to support the CRM and e-commerce integrations as part of SDL Tridion Sites. Today's speakers are Nicholas and Arvin. Now I'm going to pass it over to Nicholas to begin the presentation.
Okay, thanks. So welcome to this SDL Tridion Sites webinar. This is the second of series of webinars of the new things coming with SDL Tridion Sites 9. Today, me and Arvin is going to talk about the new integration architecture and the coming connectors, which we will soon release. So the agenda, this is what we are going to cover today. First, some quick introductions of ourselves, and then Alvin is taking you through some definitions to set the scene. After that, we will talk about the new integration service and how that fits into the new SDL Tridion ecosystem. Then I will go through our accelerator for CRM and e-commerce and do some demos around that. And after that, I'm going to go through the source code of an example connector and explain what's needed to develop a new connector. And finally, we will cover what's coming next and some information about the roadmap. But first, let us first introduce ourselves. So shortly about myself, my name is Niklas Eman, and I'm from Sweden. I've been working with SDL Tridion since 2007 in various roles like consultant, pre-sales, etc. Today I'm working as a business development unit at SDL, focusing on driving new businesses, including connectors to our core products. So I'm primarily focused on driving connectors for SDL Tridion, either through our partners or we develop ourselves. So over to you, Alvin.
Thanks, Nick. Actually, Nick beat me in terms of working with Tridion. I've been working with the software since 2008. Did a few years of consulting as a functional consultant, and I work at Tridion Sites headquarters in Amsterdam. You can tell from my accent that I grew up in San Diego. Dude. So let's start with some terms and maybe bonus points if you guys catch us saying the wrong terms. But announce that SDL Connect is our new suite, SDL Tridion DX. This is a rebranding of existing products. SDL Tridion goes back to SDL Tridion Sites, and KC joins the suite as SDL Tridion Docs. Read our nice post on SDL.com about it, or there's also a nice follow-up from partner Content Bloom. Thanks, John Winter, for that post. So we'll try to say SDL Tridion Sites as we go along. Let's look at core product. At the core, you have SDL Tridion Sites, and it has a couple of integration points or features. External content library. We're introducing a new service, which will very likely be ECL providers in delivery, the ambient data framework, and our APIs. When working with customers, we know that they have a variety of different kinds of integrations, but they fall into general buckets of types of integrations: e-commerce, CRM, marketing automation or campaigns. And when you're integrating any system with another system, you have some code or a connector that connects one system to the other. And at a given customer, you might have a specific set like Hybris, Salesforce, Marketo. Somewhere else, it might differ in each of your implementations. So what Nick has done in his previous accelerator work, for example, the e-commerce framework, is he's abstracted and made these kinds of integrations repeatable and pluggable. So in his e-commerce framework, you get DXA modules and everything, but you can pick the specific connector you want to connect a product information system to your website.
I think Alvin, the slide is not following you, so it's...
It should be on the accelerator now. If not, I might need the ball then. Okay. So this is kind of an animated version of what I just went over. Pluggable connectors and frameworks. And we should be on the accelerator page. And these are meant to be easily installed, give guidance to implementers, and pluggable with out-of-the-box connectors. For example, in the e-commerce framework accelerator, you have DXA modules, an ADF cartridge, might apply, providers, additional services, installers. So everything you need to get started is in the box. And then framework, one of the important parts is the ability to bring your own connector, either something we create, a partner creates, or you build on your own. Okay. A good point is connectors are extensions, but not all extensions are connectors. So definitely check out on SDL's community site under SDL Tridion Sites in videos. There's a video by our colleague Likon on unified extensions and how you would package these extensions or any others. Okay, let me talk a little bit about what we're working on in R&D for the integration service. One thing to keep in mind, and if you want to start putting ideas in chat, is what would you name the next version of? Ideally, this would be ECL and delivery. Does it need a new name? What would you call that service, that new microservice and delivery? So let me show you what I'm talking about while you guys think of creative names. I'm leaning towards ECL v3, but I'll give you guys a chance to convince product marketing of something else. So we've long had a way to integrate with external systems in the content manager. This gives editors the ability to select items. We also have GUI extensions. In experience optimization, we have an analytics provider. It comes with Google Analytics by default, but you can bring your own. So what we're working on now is an integration service. And ideally, this would be the same connector code and logic that connects to external systems. On systems that don't have a delivery capability, you have to publish that through ECL to your delivery stack. But some systems do have an API that lets you connect on that side, and that's the integration point we're working on and expanding on for Sites 9. This service will have a vocabulary of entities like product and content. Currently, we have an open API Swagger definition where you can generate a client if you like. It's a REST API. Of course, it's Tridion. It's extendable. You can create your own connectors, and we will be shipping some ourselves. We have a default contact cartridge. So if you connect to Salesforce, for example, you can get Salesforce fields automatically in the context of your site that you can then personalize on. Nick will show a little bit more in his demo of what he's using with it. And it'll be a delivery microservice, so it should be familiar to infrastructure. The REST API, basically it's a path. You can connect to it and get back a response. For example, here's John Smith, properly anonymized. And one of the promises of REST and using Swagger is you can create your own client. You might create your own. You might generate it, maybe put a wrapper around that to regenerate the client over time. It's fairly flexible with what you can do with a REST API that conforms to a open API spec. And that's dynamically generated. Okay, so let me switch it over to Nick. I'm going to give you the ball.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to cover two accelerators. First, the CRM one, and then the e-commerce one. So we are defining a set of frameworks for different verticals like CRM, e-commerce, campaigns, etc. These frameworks become then the foundation for the connectors we are currently developing. All this we then package into accelerators to be used as kickstart packages to quickly get started with different types of integrations. So this is the scope of the first version we're working on right now regarding the CRM accelerator. So that will include like possibility of exposing CRM data to the ABN data framework. This data can then be read when forms are submitted, when user visits the site again, or when the user logs to a site. We will also provide some simple form designer to create CRM forms to create and update data in CRM. For example, this can be used for user registrations, manage user profiles, etc. It is also possible to track activities what the current user is doing on the site and store that tracking info in the CRM. This data can then be used to support the customer better, to do personalization targeting, lead scoring, etc. A variable engine can be used to personalize content pages using CRM data stored in EDF. Those variables can then be used on any DXA-based page. So we are currently finalizing connected to Salesforce One and Microsoft Dynamics. So let's see this in action. Let me see if I can share my screen. One second. And here's one of our demo sites called the Canadian Hotels demo site. So what I'm going to do is first create a page and create a form on that page. So I'm going to create a register user page. So that will create an empty page for me, which I can then drop forms into. So in this case, I create a new form. In this case, a create form for contacts. Call it register form. Give it the title. And then I can start to add fields to this form. First, I would like to have a name field, and then I can start to map that to different Salesforce fields using a specific SDL provider. So this allows me to go through what fields are available for different entity types like forms or accounts, etc. So in this case, I would like to use a contact, and there's a lot of fields, which is in this case read directly from Salesforce. So let us first pick the name field. In addition, I can also add some additional client-side validations. For example, if I would like to have it required field, follow some specific regex pattern, provide some specific error messages, etc. And now let me add one additional field. And this is going to be the email. So you can map that to the email field in Salesforce. And here add some additional client-side validation, as this is just represented as a string in Salesforce. In this current template, also selected I can add some privacy statement for GDPR. So let me add some pre-defined text I used. And So, and then we are good to go. So we save our changes. And now in the background, it's automatically published to a staging site, so I can get started with it directly. So let us test it. I can first show that there's also some kind of social validation if I, for example, pass an invalid email address. Salesforce will then reject that and say this is an invalid email address and need to provide some correct one. So in this case, we go for that one, and I have to click on the consent checkbox before I do submit. And now I will end up on a personalized welcome page, welcoming me to this company. And this is different information retrieved from, in this case, Ambient Data Framework. So as soon as I submit the data, all that data is available to the Ambient Data Framework. So let's just see what is in there. If I go integrations, I see here's a lot of data available for me, which I can use for targeting. I can use it for personalization of content in this case. So let us then go in Experience Manager to see how that works. And you see here, this is variables that are substituted with data from ADF in this case. And this is possible to use on any DXA content pages. We can also log into a site, and this is also a part of the CRM framework that you can integrate your current identity provider. In this case, we have implemented Audience Manager. So I just use that, and as soon as I log in, all the data is then read into Ambient Data Framework. So in this case, I logged in as myself. So if I then refresh the page, I will see something else than John. In this case, I will see myself. And this allows me as well to go and update my profile. And this is also a form you can update from the CMS. So I can, for example, add new fields here if I want. Let's create, just add a read-only field for example, creation, date, and time. Pick that one. Save. And now we see that I actually get the data in real time, etc. So let me go back to the presentation again. So the actual architecture. So here's an overview of the integration architecture. As you see, we are using the new integration service as a base for communicating with the different CRM systems, where we hook in different connectors for Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics, etc. The integration service will then expose a set of CRM entities, which the rest of the ecosystem of SDL Tridion will consume. The different CRM data models are normalized, so to make sure that we use them in a uniform way in the ECL providers, DXA modules, ADF cartridges, etc. The integration service can be used both on the content management and the content delivery side, but maybe in different incarnation with maybe different setups and characteristics. On the content management side, you can use an ECL provider to get the metadata of the available CRM feeds, as I showed in the demo. On the delivery side, there's a DXA model that renders the forms and when the forms are submitted, there's a specific controller that translates those operations to the integration service to create and update the different CRM entities. As soon as the data is available, it's picked up by an ADF cartridge that will expose this CRM data to the session, which can be used for personalization and targeting. And the cartridge can also track user activities on the site and store that in the CRM for further understanding of the customer. So that brings me to the next accelerator. So in SDL Tridion Sites now we're taking the e-commerce frame to the next level where we're going to use the new integration service for the different e-commerce connectors. So the architecture is a bit similar to the CRM one, where we have an integration service as the foundation for all communication with different e-com systems. So in this case, the integration service hand out normalized e-commerce entities such as product categories, cart, etc. So on the content management side, there's an ECL provider that exposes products and categories, which you can use on different Tridion pages, such as category pages, product detail pages, campaign pages, etc. So when you publish it, you transfer the e-commerce data as references to the delivery site, and then they are resolved at runtime to actual product data with prices, stock values, etc. There's a DXA model that handles all this retrieval data, like getting product data, doing product search, manage cart, etc. It's also possible to enable in ADF cartridge to expose e-commerce data, for example, the cart data, and do also kind of personalization based on what you have in your cart. So let us see this in action. So let me share my screen again. So here's a simple e-commerce site. Where the actual navigation is a kind of hybrid, is both with CMS content and e-commerce content. So the different sections, each section can be managed by the e-commerce system. For example, the bonus category, all the data coming from the e-commerce system. So if anything changed, they will directly change to the navigation. I can go in an actual category. I can go in at the actual detail page. I can filter on certain facets like color, etc., and then the result is then adjust based on what I'm doing. I can also adjust the actual experience for certain categories. This is now using a generic appearance, but I can, if I want, override that behavior. So let us create a new category page. And then I can start to personalize that for your viewers. I can maybe use to remove the breadcrumb. I don't really want to use that. I can adjust maybe the list. Oh, sorry. Change the list size to 80 instead of 20. After preview, and then I see that now it's only 8 items. I can maybe add some additional content on the page just to blend commerce data with traditional Tridion contents. In this case, I just add nice looking header on the Euro page. I can add maybe some other kind of content or promotions on this page. So You save it, and then it's directly available for as soon as I click on the jewelry category. We can also handpick products if you want to do like a customized product detail page. So here is just an empty page with some text. This allows me to just insert, and here you see another ECL provider talking to, in this case, Salesforce Commerce, or also known as Demandware. You can then drill down into the actual product catalog. In this case, I go into the men's category, pick a product, and just drag and drop that on the page, and then it will appear on the page with all this data. I can also switch language. So if I go to French, then I will get the French representation of that product. And in this case, this has been translated by our managed translation extension to Salesforce Commerce. So that's what I was thinking to show on the e-commerce framework. So let me go into the presentation again. So just to summarize what I've shown. So in the demo, we've shown that you can do full VCM-driven integration using the e-commerce accelerator, and how e-commerce data can blend with the VCM content in an easy way. The accelerator comes with a set of out-of-the-box DXA widgets for product listers, search box, search results, fashion navigation, product details, etc. It can easily be customized for the size look and feel. And the framework acts as a foundation for new connectors such as Oracle, ATG, Magento, which we plan to implement later next year. So let us go through an example connector, and now we're going to show some code. And the audio start to upload or something. So this case, I'm going to showcase a connector exposing some product data. I was just thinking first just to do some dummy data, but I really want to showcase an actual integration. So here in this case, I'm integrating with probably one of the biggest stores in the US, Walmart, using their REST API to get products. First, I will see how we can get access through REST, and then we'll generate the client using Swagger, and finally expose it through an ECL provider. So let's get started. And now I'll share my screen again. So this is a simple connector. What you do is you implement specific interface, you annotate it. When you start it up, you get some kind of log instances configuration. From the configuration, you can get the data you need, for example, URLs, API keys, that kind of thing that are vital for the connector. The connector itself exposes a set of schemas that define the data model they expose. For example, product, in this case, I expose this type of data, and in this case, it is a normalized data model. And the same for the product categories, also a set of data. So the framework will then ask the connector what kind of schemas do you expose, and then it will return the set of data. And there's then a set of methods for retrieving data, create stuff, update, delete, that kind of thing. So in this case, I'm not allowed to update the catalog of Walmart, so I'm restricted on the retrieve products. So in this case, when retrieving a product, for example, I will then use the REST API to get the different, get a specific product. For the actual setup of the project, what I do is just connect to a specific NuGet package for the connector API. Right now we're just using our internal Nexus repository, but this we're going to be exposed to the public NuGet repository when we release this. So in this case, I set up the build system. So as soon as I build, I will generate a unified extension package, which will then be picked up by the data integration service and deploy the connector. So let us just first build the connector. And then we can see the actual configuration. The build script will put the actual extension package in this path, which will my deploy, which my data integration service will pick up. And here's an example of some configurations for different connectors. So let us then start it. You see, I'm just using a Mac. This is based on .NET Core, so it works fine on Linux and Windows servers. So start it. If you start the deployed actual connector, you see the exposed product and project category entities. So now I can start to interact with the service. I can first ask about the definition. So use the Swagger endpoint to get what kind of operations I can do, what kind of data are exposed, etc. And then let's pick a product from Walmart. This one looks cool. Just pick the actual product ID, use that, and now we can retrieve that through using the data integration service. So format is, as you saw, Alvin showed in the slide before, entities, in this case, product. This is version 1 of the entity, and then the actual ID. So you see, I get the data I have exposed, like ID, name, price, summary, description, brand, and image. Okay. Now we can take, using Swagger API, and generate a client. In this case, I'm going to generate a Java client. So what I do, I just use the actual Swagger code generator to generate code based on the definition. So I do that, and directly generate a set of classes, which I then can import into my Java environment. I import it. In this case, it's a home file. Apply. Okay, then we have it. Then can we, to start with, just take a look on the actual model class that has been generated, for example, for a product. And you see, this is the Java version of the same contract that is exposed through Swagger. I can then also stop to test it. Can use some automated generated unit classes. And use the same ID. Then print it out. Okay, let's try it out. And you see the same data, but now in my Java environment, so it's super simple to consume the entities exposed through the integration service. Okay, and then as a last step to really visualize it, I'm going to use generic ECL provider that will query data integration service to get all the data. So let me set this up. I already prepared that one. So this is a generic one where I define the endpoint to my service, and then what kind of entities that represent the actual folder, the items, the actual leave nodes, and then what kind of, for example, what's the image field name, so he knows that. Okay, to save it, restart my Tridion service. Then I should go into my Tridion environment, refresh it. Then I see Walmart pops up. And then I can start directly to browse that now. In the log that I'm actually doing a lot of requests to the service. So let us pick one game, for example, this one. He will get the actual data for this service, get the actual image, available metadata for that. So right now I'm using specific ECL folder. What we are considering is merging ECL with data integration service. So you can just easily plug in data integration connectors as ECL providers. But that's something Alvin is going to talk about. So let me hand over the ball to you, Alvin.
Okay. And I have the ball. Okay, so right now we're currently working on a common interface. So the idea is same connector code in content management, content delivery. Product entities, we want them to be customizable. I'm sorry, we've added product entity, but we want them to be customizable. We'll continue on research. And for product names, this is going to be the next version of ECL, and it'll be running in delivery. So maybe that's not separate, a separate name, but what do you call the thing that hosts connectors or providers in delivery? So ideas welcome here. Nick and I will be following up some blog posts. Maybe you can put in some suggestions there. At least have you guys to say. So this is where we are in delivery, and you'll notice there's some overlap with ECL, where in the end you have some connector provider logic that connects to some external system. What's different is how you host it in CM or CD. Okay, so expect some follow-up from Nick and myself on blog posts. This recording will be on SDL Community. A clarification, this is the first technical webinar, but we did have a presentation where our colleague Ligon was explaining unified extensions. That is on SDL Community, so technically maybe that's the 0th presentation, but that's public. We should have given Ligon a bigger audience, but now the rest of the webinars will be scheduled. There's going to be another one coming up at the end of January on cloud. And definitely check out the SDL ideas. We've been looking through SDL Tridion Sites, and we've explicitly saying we're considering some. Some we're saying no for now. So look for updates on there. And there's also one for connectors. So I see some things on chat on ideas. So if you have a specific idea or request, out of anything you've seen from Nick in this presentation or connectors in general, definitely put those ideas on there so that we can evaluate them and get your feedback. Okay, Nick, I'll give it to you for...
You don't really have to possible. I can just talk around it.
Okay.
So what we are doing right now is to finalize the CRM accelerator, to have that ready. In addition, we will start a new accelerator campaign and market information in Q1 next year. The plan is to release all these accelerators along the main release of SDL Tridion Sites 9 in June next year. But we have some beta customers interested to start using it in Q1, Q2. General availability of the different connectors is also aligned to Tridion Sites 9 release due to the dependency to integration service. They will also be part of the standard price list for SDL Tridion Sites 9. Some basic connectors might be released open source representations, just as examples. So then we are in the Q&A.
Okay, thank you for presenting today. We are going to open up the Q&A session. If you have any questions, please enter your question into the Q&A box on the right-hand corner of your screen. So before going through the questions, as mentioned, Alvin and Nicholas are working with product marketing and names for Tridion Integration Framework. Do you have any suggestions for the service that hosts connectors in delivery? Please share your opinion in the Q&A box as well. Okay. So we have a couple of questions. The first one is, where is store tracking information stored in Microsoft Dynamics? Are all the XA modules using ADF Underwater 2?
Yeah, okay, so the answer on the first one is, yeah, the tracking info is, the intention is it's stored in the actual CRM, either Microsoft Dynamics or Salesforce One. So then that can be used for maybe calculate the lead scoring, that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, in our research, what we've seen across a couple of customers is they may have their own database for some details, and then Audience Manager or CRM may record the rest. So it's flexible in terms of where you want it if you're making your own connector, but the assumption for a given connector would be in that system, that CRM, storing that kind of details and data.
Next question is, a common requirement for CRM form is to have one field dependent on the value of another. For example, when country USA shows that drop down, is this possible with the ECL style connector?
Yeah, that's something we're considering. If it's right now, it's just simple fields without any dependencies, but that's something we will consider. What I'm thinking of maybe build some kind of more advanced form design. Right now it's just using plain Tridion concept like components and embedded schema fields. But right now it's just simple fields.
Okay. And the next question is, do we have code base repository of these connectors available publicly?
Not right now, but we will expose the NuGet packages for the Connect API. We will provide some example Connect invitations available on GitHub.
Yeah. And those will come around the Sites 9 release.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question is, all looks great. And can ECL entities have relationships between each other reflected in the multimedia items, for example, related products, etc.?
Okay, I mean cross dependency between these different DCN providers. I don't think that's possible right now, but that's something maybe we can consider when we look into a new ECL standard.
Yeah, I think what's typical now, if you've used ECL to expose, say, products or other systems, you'll have content and pages that refer to them. Between ECL items, maybe there might be a way to do that. You could change your components for ECL to have metadata CM side, right? So I think Bart Koopman has shared some examples where you do that. So not just the external metadata, because there is no Tridion context there. That's just showing whatever's coming from the other system. But on the CM side, maybe you would link to some things. So it depends on your use case.
Yeah. This is last questions. Will the battle cards for our now new Tridion will be updated?
Sorry, I missed that one.
Yeah, the question is, will the battle cards for our now new Tridion will be updated? It's typical sales question.
Yeah, I assume so. I mean, this is more an internal question. So that's something we're going to update on our hub where we have all information connectors, etc. So yes.
Okay. Yeah. I think this is all the questions we have, and I'm going to wrap it up today. So thank you for attending our webinar today. We hope it is useful and informative to you. We are going to share the recording of this webinar with you shortly, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you.